Assalamu alaikum, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I'd like to greet you with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Aisha El-Amin, and I am happy to have you join us today on our fourth Sunday Taleem, which is in a joint Taleem between the Ifram Baha Center and Masjid Al-Taqwa. Um, our Taleems, as you know, and if you don't, now you do, are available on YouTube. So if you do not already subscribe to Masjid Al-Taqwa Chicago, then please do. You can find all of our Taleems as well as our khutbahs. Today, we have the pleasure of having one of our imams that really don't need an introduction, but I will give an introduction. Imam Darnell Karim has been a practicing member of the Muslim community for over 83 years. His entire education was attained under directions of the University of Islam and the Clear Muhammad school system. Imam Karim began his studies in the Arabic language and Islamic studies at the age of 11. His instructors of the Quranic Arabic language were several. However, the most effective teacher was the Professor Jamil Daib, who was his instructor for 10 years. You all may know many things about him, but you may not know that Imam Karim continues to study under the leadership of Imam Muhammad Muhammad and became an instructor of Islamic studies in Arabic at the Clear Muhammad schools in 1976 to 1987. And he frequently traveled to many masjids and Islamic centers throughout the United States to instruct Muslim adults in Islamic studies and Arabic language. He's an advocate and a supporter of the leadership of our late, great Imam Muhammad. May Allah give him the highest place in paradise. And his first recitation publicly was at the age of 13 at the Muslim Annual Convention in Chicago, and that was in 1951. And it brought tears to the eyes of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And today, we are honored as part of our fourth Sunday joint Taleem to welcome Imam Darnell Karim to talk about the need for Islamic chaplaincy in hospital settings.
First of all, I give the greetings to the audience. I see a lot of names that I'm familiar with. This is a great pleasure here, Sister and Dr. El-Amin, and I feel so good to hear to refer to a lot of our sisters as doctors. You know, they have a lot of that in the media of Caucasians, and not to speak in terms of against color or anything, but a lot of the immigrants, they have doctors in different. I work with them at the hospital there, which I'll tell you something about it. But I'm very encouraged all the time to see the word doctor, and that doctor looks like me. Yeah, we need a lot of that, you know. So inshallah, we'll talk about it, give you all an idea of what we're talking about, chaplaincy. I'll begin with God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. We give the praise to Allah, who is responsible for all that exists, and we recognize Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed, is the last and the seal of the prophets. Ameen. I would say Dr. Thanks is Dr. Bashir. Am I correct? Dr. Bashir, Sister Gloria.
Yes.
Yes, all right. I like to do things out of respect. She's the one who invited me, and I appreciate that. I know her very well. I know her children. They were part of the of the weekend school we had when we was in Harvard Islamic Center, and I know the works of your husband also too. So I'm very familiar. Not you so much. I get to you. I'm thinking about Sister Bashir, but I also know about you, Dr. El-Amin, and also your husband. In terms of when they were in school, to Sister Clara Muhammad, and he was one of the students in the kindergarten, I think it was, with Sister the Pakistani sister that we had that was teaching the Arabic language there. So we go back a long ways, to see our brother progressing as you do as an imam in our community under the leadership of Imam Muhammad. However, the this I would read information here first, and then I will tell you something about the chaplaincy that I'm involved in. I've been with Rush University Medical Center for over 26 years, serving as a staff imam at Rush. And here's my my official badge. Here, I wear it around when I'm there. And right at the bottom there, you'll see it says staff imam. So this particular position that I have, that I think a lot for it, that it came about through my son Naeem and another brother, that's Dr. Rob. He's in Texas somewhere at another hospital, and found out to become a need for a chaplain. And so I was chosen, and so forth. And it's been a great experience there as a imam chaplain at Rush. But if we look at the word chaplains, we really don't. Imams aren't referred to as chaplaincy because we don't have chaplaincy in Islam. We have imams, we have educators, we say sheikh, and we don't use the term mufti, but and a amir. Those terminologies used, and it depends on the circumstances and the position that person has. They would be called one of those terms, imam or amir or whatever. But if you notice that those terms, especially imams, that was started under the leadership of W.D. Muhammad in 1975. So you go way back in history, you find out that the immigrant community never used the term imam until everything began to start and international started with under the leadership of Imam Dean Muhammad, where you see so many things now that's prevalent, that's obvious, that's out there. And we study our history, you find out that it came through our community in 1975 when Jummah prayer itself was even established. But prior to that, Jummah prayer was not established nationally. Chaplaincy, pardon me. Chaplaincy, just a general term for chaplaincy. Muslim chaplains often serve both Muslims and non-Muslims, offering spiritual support and guidance. And in recent years, chaplains have acted as intra-institutional leaders who work towards greater interfaith understanding and community engagement. Muslim chaplains are often the face of Islam in these institutions and beyond, and their history in America is intricately interwoven with social attitudes about Islam and the changing demographics of the nation Muslim population. So let me explain this here further. It says about the history of chaplaincy here in the United States. It began within the prison ministry. And who was that started the actual chaplaincy and ministry in America was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And it started in the early 1940s. My father, Carl, was in prison with Honorable Elijah Muhammad when World War II started out, and all of the men that were arrested in the temple, whether they were graphic age or not, they were arrested and put into prison simply because of their religious beliefs. So as early as the 1940, 41, 42, Donald Elijah Muhammad was in prison in Milan, Michigan. And there he began to preach the religion, and he also began to teach from the Quran. And one of the pioneers had told me, he says that often he would give instructions to his wife, Sister Clara, to see that from chapter, he taught from chapter 2, Al-Baqarah, from the Quran, but the verses, he didn't give me the verses, but he was teaching from that, from Baqarah, the cow. So how do I know this history? And some of you all might be familiar with my new book out that you should get it. It's called the First National Independent Islamic School System in America. So all of you all that are listening that went to that school, you should not let others tell you about your history. You should tell your history because there's an organization right now, and I will go into that a little further. They've already written your history, and they record it, and they teach it among themselves. And the people that's not aware of us, so to speak, they accept it as fact. Inshallah, we will begin to correct that while encouraging everybody to just begin to write history. And in my book, some of you all have the book. I have the names of just about everybody that went to the school. So what was the purpose of that period? To show that, to show our independent thinking, our independent education, we had a right to that. And I showed in this book what came out of this school from the time it started with the University of Islam to the Clara Muhammad School. You all have made a great history in America, and you should know about that and do what you can to be involved in your communities to help and see exactly what it's about for this community, and that is to build Muslim community life. And if we don't attend to it, as time goes by and civilization evolves, what's going to happen? Islam is so prevalent in the world now, my dear brothers and sisters, until society is begin to be educated on Islam. So if we don't make it our business to tell the people about our history or take advantage of it and study more of the Quran, the saying of the Prophet, and the history, society will be educated. And then you will be left behind who's been here all the time, and your parents are the one who paved the way. Having said that, it leads us into the demand for chaplaincy or demand for the need to adhere to the care of human beings. At Rush, I work with the Department of Religion, pardon me, and I work with Christians of all denominations, Jews, Hebrews, Baptists, Methodists, whatever it is, I work with them. But what is my job with them? I train them and give in service to those who are going to be preachers, in other words, or ministers or fathers or whatever the case may be. I teach them, and I also show them how you are to, when you are visiting Muslim patients, how you are supposed to treat Muslims patients. And so by doing so, you want to get acquainted with their culture, the language, and etc. or whatever. But in order to do that, if you're interested in that, I'll give you the information to call the department and try. It's called CPE. It's called Clinical Pastoral Education, and Rush specializes in that, in producing chaplaincy, but we have no Muslim chaplains. Do you know that Rush University Medical Hospital is the only hospital in Chicago that has a staff imam, and that's me. From our community, that says a lot for our community. And I give credit to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Imam Dean Muhammad for their leadership in paving the way for us along with our pioneers. But I give that credit, but I give it more even to our parents because our parents is the one that they're responsible for our growth and our development. So we take our hat off to, especially to our parents, but those who have paved the way. History speaking, in 1947, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had a vision through the divine guidance of God. He had a vision in 1947. He had a vision that he wanted Quranic Arabic taught to his people in what we call the original nation of Islam. And I myself, Gloria, my brother Leroy, the Imam, Muhammad is his brother Akbar Muhammad, my sister Zahira. We were all in that first class that started in 47, 48. Uh, uh, Gloria was a little younger, but she came about a couple of years after that, and then she came and joined. I think she was about 10, 11 years old when she started the classes. But Jamil Diab was with us for 10 years. And what good about this class is that Jamil Diab taught us how to think in Arabic. He's Professor Jamil Diab, a graduate of Azhar University in Egypt. And he stayed with this community for uh, uh, nearly 10 years. And he taught us one good part about his teaching is he taught us how to think in Arabic. So when we began to study and learn about Arabic, I never saw English with Arabic letters. So his very first letters on the board were all Arabic. And then he began to teach, start from there, teaching sounding, etc., and whatever. So he specialized in to make sure that we pronounce each alphabet correctly. So thank Allah for him for his effort that he began to teach us how to think in Arabic. And for a while, after a few years, after we began to get caught on to the language, Jamil Diab used to come every day. We was with him from Monday to Friday, 4 hours a day. He would come in and he would fill a whole board with Arabic. And then we'd have to read it and translate it. So from that method, we learned how to speak Arabic. I'm not an interpreter, but I can communicate. And I found a lot of practice there at Rush because we meet with a lot of Muslim patients, of course, in our community and especially in the immigrant community. So, given that little background history, moving forward with this, what we're about even with chaplaincy, I'm giving you some idea about how Allah has blessed us to take the lead role of this evolved development community that's coming about in the United States and also in the world, where Allah has already prepared us. He has already prepared us for to take this position in a leadership role. All right, now, and moving further with this information of the chaplaincy, I want to lead it to how we can get involved in what we call a chaplaincy. I would like the term human care, as we might say human care. It's a very challenging job, but it's necessary. Why? Is because I wouldn't say you're going to get sick. We do. You're not well, you have to go to the hospital, you have to go to a clinic or whatever. But the care is there. And if we don't be there to help humanity or whatever the case may be, you have priests and you have rabbis and others. They will begin to be our ministers or whatever and give us guidance. So now we have a chance to at least, we're not there to convert people to Islam, but at least we want to be an example for society to show that we care. They care and we care too. So when we see a suffering person, we don't just only see a Muslim or Christian suffering, we see humanity suffering. And that's what you want, because those are the key things that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that was his life. He was known for that as El Amin. When they refer to him, they say, "Oh, Rasulullah, oh, the trusted one, the faithful one." This is how he was known. But his character and his lifestyle caused many, many to come to this way of life. All right. Now, moving forward with this, because there's a lot to this program, which is very simple. Let me give you the qualifications for if you're interested. We have the they prefer you to have a degree if you have it, and it would be a lot if they have a degree in theology. In theology, it'll help very much, especially in divinity or whatever. Or you're just in school to study it. It depends on you. But I know it's a lot of I speak to and work a lot of, even some of them have joined the class that are PhDs. So so I work with all of them, but they have very little knowledge of Islam, as we know is Islam. So what you have to do, you have to learn the cultures, the different cultures. We know about ours, but how do you approach a Pakistani or an Egyptian or Saudi Arabian or whatever country that they might be from? How do I approach them and how do I treat them as a imam or as a Muslim, period? All right. So we don't have all these different characters saying you treat a Pakistani like this, you treat a Caucasian like this. No, you go in there and you're treating humanity. That's the whole part of the period. You're treating humanity. But in general, when I tell them about, and when I give the in-service, I say that when you approach African American people, we are more sociable. We accept anybody, actually. That's the way we are. We are sociable beings. But I say, but when it comes to the women, if you treat the one from Syria or Saudi Arabia a certain way, you put your hand on your chest like the CEO, you bow and give the greeting, you treat the African American woman the same way. She deserves the same treatment. Don't walk into the room and say, "Oh, this is a black lady," or whatever black person, you can talk anyway. No, they've been told. They've been told you are professionals, and you walk in there and you treat whoever it is, especially if it was us, the African Americans, they are to receive the same treatment. All right. I'll be there about 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and especially for Juma. My responsibility there is to pick speakers for Juma prayer, who's to speak and who shouldn't. So my title there is Director of Islamic Affairs and Department of Relation at Rush. That's my official title. Now, I can take away from them a little bit. I had some challenges. I wouldn't go into detail when I came there in 1997. And without them saying that I wasn't accepted among some of the brothers there, because they speak Arabic and they figured I know very little about the Quran or whatever. So it was a challenge for me, and I prevailed it. And how I prevailed it, when Allah tells us, He says, and speak to them. When you speak, speak with wisdom. Speak with wisdom, and you wouldn't approach them and say, "Well, you did this because of who you are, you're black or whatever." It's not that. Don't let them anger you and say, "Why you treat me this way?" Just know your religion, dear brothers and sisters, and you will know how to react behind ignorance. racism is in all levels here in America, and that's okay. You can't you can't accept all, you can't correct them all, but you can correct yourself by coming to whatever institution it is, come with knowledge. So I came in there and I was qualified, but I was qualified when I began to take the position and the responsibility of directing them how to do whatever it is, especially when it comes to the Quran under the leadership of Imam Muhammad, the way it is to be presented. So when I began to speak at Jumas, I read in Arabic, of course, and I give the translations and etc. Allah blesses me with meanings of words, concepts, and things like that that they never heard before. They know of it, but they're not familiar with that type of terminology. And it's been really helping me a lot to know that when they hear this African American brother speak, that's an imam over all our immigrant brothers and sisters. When they hear me talk, they know they know I know. They know that I know, and it has really helped me tremendously, and I thank Allah for that. I have a package here. I did some writing on it, but that's just my notes. Is that I have a package here that I share with the new interns and residents. I teach the interns and the residents on in-service at Rush. And on this part here, it says handy information for interns and residents. On the inside of this package, what I usually I have put it all together here. You can see it, I have to read it, but it's give the background of myself. And on the first of it says getting acquainted with Muslim customs and Muslims practices. And so this page will give, the first page will give that type of information on here. And just a booklet, and I'll be able to share it with you and send it to Dr. Bashir or Dr. Elamina, get it to you. The next page will be, you introduce them to the basic pillars and beliefs in Islam. And this explanation is so powerful. You would love to hear how you are to introduce your religion to the non-Muslims, because the first thing you want them to do is your position. What is your belief? What is your practice, and what you stand for? Well, it's in here. And the next pages will be general information on etiquettes of how to treat Muslim patients, including the women especially. All right. So the package is here, and at the end of it, we have explanation of Jummah prayer here. I have a little more detail than this, and I also have on the back there Islamic terminology. So this simple package is what I use to pass out to interns, etc., so they can have a general idea. Why is this package important? That package is important because it gives them an idea of what Muslims think. So if you're not aware of their faith and their beliefs, then how are you going to treat them, or whatever the case may be, you see? So what I do, and I encourage us, brothers or sisters that would be interested in something like that. It's not hard, it's very easy. And I express one thing to the immigrant community there. This term, Imam, that Imam Muhammad started in America, is a very important position. And the immigrants, the non-Muslims, the Catholics, the priests, and all them, they understand the position of Imam. So Imam, in general, as the Imam put it, an Imam is one who has good character, moral character, and he's knowledgeable of the religion. That's very important, brothers. I'm telling you, especially to the Imams. You don't become an imam because you had a vision and not tomorrow you imam. Because what's going to happen? You're going to be challenged in the world. Allah is educating the world. The world is growing. Enlightenment of this religion is being grown all over. So Allah's not only talking to us, we have first choice, but everybody's listening and they are well aware of the religion, how powerful it is. So qualifications is that Imam gave that before he passed away, Imam Muhammad. One of his main concerns was the brothers who were interested in imams that you be well educated in the religion. You should know the Quranic Arabic. You should know how to read from the Quran in Arabic, because the department I work for, they know about Arabic, and some of them are educated in Arabic. The Muslims that come to rush for prayer, they're doctors, they're nurses, they're student doctors. They know Arabic good. The average one of them can stand and do Jumu'ah prayer. So I can't come in there and just talk like I want to talk just for myself. I have to, they know the etiquettes of Jumu'ah, and they know, they're well acquainted with that. They know if I know and they know if I don't know. So if you came there to one of the Jumu'ah prayers and see how they not treat me, see how they react to me now versus when I first started. You will hear the word imam and respect, and I thank Allah for that too. But in saying that, the office of the prophet is called nubuwah. Nubuwah, like you say, the office of chaplaincy, the office of this, the office of that. I'm there as an imam, but my office really is at home. But I have an office there that belongs to the office of Prophet Muhammad. And so they know that. So that has to be respected. As the Imam put it, to say, you don't have to like me personally, but like what I represent. So I do whatever I can till this day. I do everything that I can to make sure that they respect the office. And I could care less about how you think about me, or if they thinking in that way, it doesn't matter to me. As long as they respect Muhammad the Prophet, what he stood for, and the Quran and this religion, then we're fine. If not, that's when I begin to do what I have to do to make the changes or challenges or whatever the case may be. And if the brother didn't like the way that I did it, I would just simply come and make my authority say, I can't use you no more. It's simple as that. But in general, brothers and sisters, on this is called Department of Religion, Health, and Human Values. There's so much detail that I can give to you with something like this. I'd be glad to share it with you. I have a here's I have a I don't have my card before me. Oh, here's one here. I have a regular professional card. I have on it on that card. It says resident imam. So what I do, what I would do, and the purpose of this program, that I hope that I can say something to you to encourage you, brothers and sisters, that there's 400,000 plus. This is statistics showing that of Muslims here in Chicago and suburbs. 400,000 Muslims, and at one time there was probably only 50,000 Muslims. Look how it has grown. So where are we at to meet this growing demand? You see what's happening out in the news, uh, people getting killed, getting hurt, and wounded, and they're filling these hospitals and in medical centers and etc. hospitals, and a lot of them are Muslims, but they need help. So where can we be to fit that void that's there? And if we not there to fit that void, they will. And where does that put us when we've been there all the time? So Imam, sister, I say Imam. Well, women can be imams too. The brothers don't know that. Women can be imams. How do they be imams? When it says that they are the first callers to prayer, the women are. Can they be the first call to prayer? Well, at home when you're with your husband and your wife tell you to get up, it's time for prayer. That's the first call. When they simply tell you to get up for prayer, that's the first call. So they used to say it a lot that one of the politicians, uh, he's very famous. He's a famous politician here in Chicago. I won't say his name, and he talks well, but his wife writes his speeches. In the same way I do with me. My wife got a little mad with me a little bit because she said you should let me check you out before you came on the camera. And when I get ready to go somewhere and I put on the wrong tie, she'll say, no, no, you can't go like that. You have to, you wear this tie, not that one there. And I get right and I write something. And I say, what do you think? I say, what do you think? The reader said, does this sound right? She said, oh, no, you can't present this. She said, what you need to do, I know what you're saying here, but you have to tell people what you mean. So Gloria has that qualification to help me to tell me what I mean. I'm not a good writer, but she's a good editor. So I have a lot of background, brothers and sisters, and us men, us brothers, imams, we should come forward more and let us know who our assistant imam is. That's your wife. She's your assistant, man, but action and background, she's really the imam. And what happened, the imam even talked about that too. He said that a woman loves to see her child, a boy, get up before audiences and perform and do certain things, responsible. So when we go before the audience to talk, I hope some imams they might click me off. It's okay. But I'm telling the truth how you can stay married. It's a 66 years for me. And 66 years is not around the corner. It takes a lot for that. But one thing I learned is how to listen. I have my things to say, but I listen. And she said, when I joined the CPE class there in Rush, I'm just talking off the wall a little bit. I said, what I learned at Rush, at the Department of Religion and Chaplaincy on a seriousness, you have to go into the room and talk to them, but you got to listen at the patient. Don't come in there preaching. You have to learn to listen. So that's what I learned a lot about at Rush Department of Religion. They taught me how to really think, listen. And so I told Gloria, I'm so proud of that I learned how to listen. She says, I said, what do you think of that? She said, you need to take another course. So
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Imam, you're giving us we have such a wealth of information from you, from the history to your new book to your work at Rush, to how to have a great marriage of 66 years. I know we only have a few minutes left in our time
I know it. I didn't mean to go too far away.
No, you were perfect. You were absolutely perfect.
All right, I hope I said something.
Oh, alhamdulillah. No, you're in no way is no need to apologize. We appreciate all the wisdom
Yes,
that you
ma'am.
shared. Is
Well,
I wanted to give an opportunity for folks to ask any questions or make comments, but I ask them to limit it to 1 minute.
all right, that'll be fine. What I'm going to tell you at the very end, because I have a lot to send and give you, and you can share it with the community. I have no problem with it there, because information, we need to know these things. But what at the bottom of this information, my supervisor, he wrote down how you can contact them yourself. You don't you have to call me, but we can write it down. I'll send it to you. It's under health, religion and health at rush.edu.com. But I'll give it to you as we end. And
Okay,
but
you said
you
religion
write
and health? I
it's
could.
it's religion
Mm-hmm.
underscore
Uh-huh.
health
Okay.
HEALTH at rush.edu.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I
So
wrote
that's
it in the chat.
religion.
Okay, I've got you. I wrote it in the chat for folks, and as people listen to the video, they also could hear it
Yeah,
there.
they can get it then, but you write to them, and of course mention my name, and so we'll do whatever we can to get the people starting that program, brother or sister, and you will find it to be very rewarding because it really helps you to understand other faiths, and that helps you a lot, even doing dawah, whatever you're doing. And that's what I have learned, even though I've been under leadership of the Imam, I grew up with him and all this here, but I learned a lot being there because I had a chance to really work with the Christian people there. So I'll leave it open for question.
All right. Please unmute yourself and ask your question, and maintain a 1 minute time limit. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Bashir Assad. It's a
How
pleasure
you
and
doing?
an honor, Imam Darnell Karim, to have you on our program. You
Thank you.
a wealth of knowledge and wisdom and commitment.
It's so
Example
fulfilling
our
his
community.
supporters.
When you were talking about the chaplaincy and the history of our community, and your upbringing, we see in the Quran gives us Allah gives us guidance in the Quran how we're to deal with the sick and how we're to visit them and pray for them and care for them. But one thing, as you talked about during the period of time, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the chaplaincy in the prisons, to Imam Wardi Muhammad, when he came into leadership with his community, he set up committees, and he set up the sick committee. You want to address that in connection with the chaplaincy programs?
With the you mean with
sick committee.
The previous
The sick
Say it
committees
again?
that Imam Wardi Muhammad established for the community, his relationship to
Oh, I
chaplaincy.
see. Yeah, I know. Well, for one thing, real quick, quick answer that, he has stopped and using the word sick. We don't say sick anymore because that's a psychological term to say you have a sick committee. But I forget the terms that was used in terms of that of focusing, concentrating on caring for the needy, caring for people who are under the weather and etc. But it was a term for that, but we didn't use the word sick, However, it's unfortunate that that committee kind of separated itself or broke apart. But we need to do it more because I'm glad you asked me that. I have a difficulty in explaining it to the Christians because, see, they have Catholic organization, Baptist organization, they have ministry organization, but we really don't have that. We don't have a school for imams. We don't really have a school for it, but we do have classes that we're trying to encourage the imams to become more qualified. We have more people interested in teaching, but they talk without knowledge. And it really hurts the community. So we need to focus more on getting qualified people among us and have qualified classes so that we can be prepared to meet what we're saying, the sick or people under the weather, whatever. I've attended to a lot of Muslims in our community at Rush through the years. A lot of us through the years. And when they saw me, it put joy into the face to know that somebody like us is in there caring for them, because they say every day they have priests and others come around wanting to read the Bible to them and etc. like that. So we're doing a great service if we show more attention to that. But I think to even answer your question, Bashir, see what we can do to really take classes serious about being qualified imams or qualified teachers in the religion.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Thank you, Imam Darnell.
Yes.
I just wanted to chime in just to speak on I guess lifting up the point that you made about the importance of being qualified and using education as a means to obtain that qualification. There are a number of imams in our association, myself included, that have taken advantage of Bayan Islamic Graduate School that has the Muhammad Ali Scholarship to obtain the Master of Divinity either in Islamic Studies or Master of Arts in Islamic Studies or Master of Divinity in Islamic Chaplaincy, which I finished in 2022. And now myself, along with Imam Suleiman Hamid of Atlanta, Imam Rushdad Mujahideen of Los Angeles, Imam Tawheed Rashad of Detroit, are all pursuing the doctorate of ministry in Islamic community leadership.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, alhamdulillah. And it really just I think it proves the point that you have made, that there has to be an investment in education for those who would be in leadership positions, so that you don't have folks that's just standing up talking, but are really trying to make sure that we're qualified and that we're serving our communities properly. So I appreciate you so much for everything that you said and for bringing that point up.
Well, my pleasure too. And I had heard about you, Imam. I know you very well and everything, and I continue to keep congratulating you to keep it going, because the community is going to be dependent on you. A lot of you brothers like that. I'm glad to hear that. But here's the other point I wanted to add to that. When the Imam said the word, "You are a new people," keep in mind as you study your divinity, and I'm very familiar with the school too, is that keep in mind that the new terminology that the Imam has taught us. You have to keep that in mind. When he say new people, we have been blessed with new knowledge, new understanding, new thinking. And he said we don't even think like the other. We have to think like ourselves. So don't let the terminology sway us away and be right back to where they are. Absolutely. It says our language has to be different from them. So when they hear you talking, they hear something new. You see? So I hope that makes sense, because if you don't, we're going back to square one again, so to speak. So the man spent 33 years to bring us into a new level of understanding. So as you learn, continue with it. And I pray to Allah that you all finish and everything, but keep that in mind, the new knowledge that God has given us. For example, if I say, I won't go into details, but I found it to be very interesting to learn just what is Islam. What is Islam? What is a Muslim? What is Quran? That's very important for people to know, because if you hear most terminology of Islam, it's in general. But Islam didn't start with Prophet Muhammad. I'm not trying to teach you, I'm just giving a point. Islam didn't start with Prophet Muhammad. It started way before that, because Islam came from nature. It's what Allah created by nature, a need in every human being to want to be to God. So Allah is the one who created Islam whenever that it was. But when the Quran came to Prophet Muhammad, he completed it with Islam. This day I perfected for your religion, completed my favor upon you, and chosen for you Islam as a complete way of life. So the ending of that is that as you doing what you're doing, continue with, and my other brothers too, just keep the new knowledge that you already got. You probably know it better than me.
I mean,
Alhamdulillah.
no, I doubt that. But
Alhamdulillah.
I'm serious.
I want to give you gratitudes and appreciations sincerely one more time, and allow the believers to also give you thanks, as we've gone a few minutes over, but we're going to end now. In the chat, we have people saying, mashallah, thank you so much, love you so much. Your knowledge is so fulfilling. Allahu Akbar, Allah. Alhamdulillah, being blessed with the Imam Wardi Muhammad and new knowledge. So thank you so much. Believers, feel free to unmute yourself, and as we bid farewell to Taleem today and thank our dear beloved Imam Darnell Karim.
Oh, that's so kind.